Just follow them on Instagram.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Around the Halo, episode 2. This is very exciting for all of us because we are once again live here at University of St. Thomas in Houston, and we are joined by the wonderful Bridget, who I'm going to introduce in a second. But that's okay. Don't worry. I'm gonna absolutely hold on to the spotlight for as long as possible because this is my first time back with everyone for Around the Halo.
Yay.
After producing from behind the scenes. So I wanted to say thank you to everyone who joined us last week, and I do look like I'm being interviewed on 60 Minutes. That's true. I do have the perfect frame out. That's a good poll, Rocky. I appreciate that. I'll try not to have any devastating news come from this interview, but I might cry. It depends on how the evening goes. So tonight, of course, we are
Queen Elizabeth, huh?
yeah. I was a big fan of Queen Elizabeth, so that it's hitting me hard across the board for sure. So obviously tonight we have Jonathan Bearded Blevins here with us, the CEO of Little Flower Media, and Bridget from UST, the executive producer.
Yes.
I think
Executive producer.
Yeah, official title upgrade is what's happening, and it's where we're all at. So this is a good opportunity for me. I get to host tonight and also give myself points, just across the board, I think, for basically any thought, or even if I don't say it out loud, I'm going to give myself some points anyway.
That sounds like cheating.
Does it? Okay. All right, good. Yeah, it probably will be cheating by the end of it, but the points don't matter, so everything's going to be fine. And of course, tonight there's just the three of us, which is actually excellent. I've been working hard to be able to do all this stuff on the fly, and I'm fully prepared to have scenes with as many people as possible, just in case, like, Marco ends up in Africa and Joel has a baby. So that kind of brings you guys up to speed with where we're at with the production this evening. So we're pretty stoked to be here with you all. And it's going to be a great game.
Can I just say, I'm thankful for Dom and his 3 months of being a subscriber. I saw that. I saw that he's excited. I don't know if he's familiar with the show, so thanks for the sub. Also, Marco has sent us so many pictures from Africa.
Oh, I mean, more pictures than I would send to anyone in my life.
I have looked at 10% of them because I've been busy. I mean, I'm like,
oh yeah,
I want to see them,
yeah.
But if he has ones of gorillas where he is as close as we are. True. As close as we are to gorillas. Yeah.
He's not posting any
and like,
of those.
what's that place called? It's not Rwanda. Is it Rwanda?
Yeah, he was in Rwanda.
Yeah. They apparently
he was in Rwanda.
20 years of gorilla tours in Rwanda and not one injury.
Wow.
And they were within, a foot of this giant gorilla. And then tons of zoomed in pictures of real lions.
I saw that.
And I'm like, pet it.
Oh, no, not the
Just, you're right there. What's the worst that could happen?
Of course, that would be your play. Just touch it. Just touch it. It'll be fine. It's okay.
Anyway, I digress. We miss Marco.
We do miss Marco. That's for sure.
But he's having the time of his life. Oh
Yeah.
my
He's
gosh.
he and Liz are having a great time, and we're very thankful for that.
Or he's not. Or he's like me. I mean, the guy is wearing a suit coat in Africa. He also may be miserable and maybe like have bugs all over every meal. I mean, he could be just really roughing it up.
Right, but it's all about the Instagram. So clearly he's living life through social media at this point, and so it counts. It's real. That's what's actually happening. So for those of you just joining us tonight, here's how this works. Around the Halo is a little game show that we like to do here with Little Flower Media, hosted on the Bearded Blevins channel. And what we do is we throw out a whole bunch of random topics. Some of them are super deep and introspective, and some of them are absolutely topical, just throwaway stuff that, things like John tweets, and so, was that really shocking, or?
That was a cut to the core.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'll make up for it later by giving you additional points.
Perfect.
So we're all going to weigh in. We're each going to take a minute and say whatever we think, and then I'll dole out some points as we go to make it as entertaining as possible. I will say that I really enjoyed the topics that you came up with today, because I feel like they really do. They are like kind of a cross section of pop culture at the moment in terms of stuff that's going on. So I'm excited if you guys are excited.
I'm pumped.
Okay,
Ready?
great.
I had some good
fantastic.
Chinese food for dinner tonight.
We did.
So
We did
I'm
have some
feeling a
good
little
Chinese
iffy,
food.
but
Yeah.
I'm very excited about the show.
Yeah, no, that's 100% accurate. So let's fire it up and go fast just in case you need a breather. All right, so starting off with topic number 1, Queen Elizabeth and the monarchy. Do you remember when I talked about this on stream originally?
When was it?
It was the day that she passed away.
Oh yeah.
And this was a really tough moment for me, just in terms of bad timing. Where I had read an article like the day before that was like, the doctors are concerned about the Queen's health, and I made a comment that was like, well, I mean, when you're 96, at what point are you not concerned about someone's health? She had passed away like 7 minutes before that. We're on stream for hours, right? Hours, like 3 hours in the morning, and so like everybody was like, hey, she just passed away. Too soon. And I was like, are you being serious? Like, when did it happen? They were like 5 minutes ago. I was like, oh my God.
She's talking to St. Peter as we speak.
I cannot believe that I was able to pull that off to that level. And yet, I'm kind of proud of myself because, I guess they were concerned about her health for good reason. So that's the way that it goes. And then we get kind of through in this Queen Elizabeth and the monarchy. Is that something that should continue to exist? Obviously, we have a very outside perspective after having rebelled a couple hundred years ago from the monarchy. But I mean, what do we think? Where is that headed? You want to go first on this one, Bridget?
Sure.
I know you
why
have
not?
deep thoughts on the monarchy.
You
I know you
know.
were very into the royal wedding.
You would be.
So Harry and Meghan got married on my wedding day. We had a child around the same time. Me and my husband are that many years apart. There are a lot of similarities. It's weird. But I didn't. Okay, so when she passed away, I feel bad for my ignorance because I had to text one of my friends who's super into the royal family, super hardcore into them. And I was like, so was she mad about Prince Harry and Meghan? What did she do? So she kind of gave me the whole lay of the land. And she's like, oh no, she was great. And she was very kind and loving. And so, it's sad. Even though I'm not invested personally, it's a sad moment when someone passes away in general. The thing that I took away from it the most is that it happened on a Thursday. And the only reason I know it happened on a Thursday is because that day was Thursday night football.
Oh.
And so during the Bills-Rams game, they did a moment of silence. And it was not silent. It was no silence. It was loud there. And I was like, oh my gosh. But I guess it must feel weird for people to do a moment of silence for the queen of the nation that we're not a part of anymore. It felt a little weird, but I was like, but someone still passed away. So it was just this moment of thinking about man, we're in the United States. This would be a weird thing to honor.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's still a leader. So
Yeah.
that game when I just heard
A world
nobody
leader
was silent, I was
of
like,
sorts.
ooh.
Yeah. No, I can see
so,
that. What do you think about this one, John? You want to talk about the Queen and how much she meant to you?
Yeah, I do. First of all, I think that schools do a bad job of teaching what a monarchy is, because I don't, and maybe I just didn't pay attention. But I feel like if I would have known I could have been a king still as a kid, I would have maybe shot for that, in some way. I'm not sure how that would have worked. I'm not born there, but I didn't even know that was a thing, and then apparently it still is. I'm sad because someone passed away, and that is sad, just like you said. But am I Robin Williams sad? No. Am I DMX sad? No, because those are true Americans. But I feel for people who are sad about her death. I do. I really do. I'm not joking about that. But then I also wonder why we care so much about the royalty thing in general. The wedding, you bring up the wedding, that royal wedding. I didn't get it. I don't get it. I remember being a kid and watching the Princess Diana funeral on TV. Mm-hmm. I didn't get it. I was like, Mom, what are we doing? Oh, she was very nice. And I was like, well, there's people who die all the time at all the churches that have no one at their funeral that were very nice.
She was
she did a lot of great things.
I mean, she
did a lot of great things.
Amazing.
I'm pretty sure she was buddies with Mother Teresa.
Yeah.
Yeah, so all very cool things. But I'm just saying, I just didn't get it. And so I don't understand our fascination with England and monarchies. I wish I knew more about them. Marco is a monarchist. So
He's a monarchist. Yeah, that's true.
I think
yeah.
he wants the Pope to rule the world.
Yeah, he believes that that's how it should be doled out, and that everyone should have their own country and be in charge of that country.
So I will just say, may Queen Elizabeth rest in peace. I genuinely am praying for her soul and for those who loved her. But I think it's a little weird that we care so much about royalty.
Yeah, it is a unique
The only
element.
king I care about is the king of the universe, and that is Jesus. Amen.
Amen. And the king of beers, Coors Light. Right. So I don't even know that's true. That's Budweiser. But sponsor our streams. The fascinating part for me about like the monarchy thing is that they want to keep it going. Like, I think that what they did when they separated it off and said, like, okay, we're going to have a prime minister who's primarily in charge of what goes on in the country and policy and that kind of thing. And then we'll have this other person that cuts ribbons and rides around in a carriage. Like, that I think that there's an element to that, the separation that was important. It's still weird to me that they're like, here's $100 million to fix Buckingham Palace. Here's another $100 million just for being you. Here's another $100 million because, look, you got grandkids now. Like, there's this whole element that is fascinating to see, but it's built into the culture, and it apparently has no end in sight. So I'm actually a monarchist in the way that I think we should do that in the United States, where we should probably split off the parts of the presidency that, like, meets the Girl Scout that sold the most cookies and the lacrosse team that won the national championship, and they should do that thing, and then somebody else should just be in their office all day getting to work.
You have to understand that if they don't give the monarchy money, then Uhtred, son of Uhtred, will take over, and war will begin.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I mean, that could happen.
Yeah.
Especially from a perspective of like the fictional characters taking over. I mean, it's either Uhtred, son of Uhtred, or Neo from
That's
the
up for
Matrix.
debate.
There's a competition there.
All right, let's move on to topic number 2. We have the Brett Favre scandal. I actually should have put that in quotes. Because,
you're gonna make some people mad.
Because so here's the deal. Brett Favre apparently is in some hot water because some text messages were released from 3 years ago that are supposedly prove that he was involved in moving welfare money away from the state of Mississippi and into Southern Miss College, right? The college, because his daughter went there and they were trying to build a new gymnasium, right? So that's the story that we're at right now in terms of where the narrative is headed. It smells fishy to me because of a lot of different layers that seem like they're a bit of a stretch, but I don't know or care that much about Brett Favre. John, you want to start this one?
Here's the thing. I'm shocked I'm shocked at what's happening right now. Because what you just said, first of all. Mm-hmm. Because do you think that professional athletes are capable of scandal?
Oh, for sure.
100%.
Yeah, sure.
Do you think that politicians are capable of scandal? 100%. And do you think rich people are capable of scandal? Yeah, so like
no, not rich people, no.
Here's my thing with Brett Favre. He's one of my favorite quarterbacks that I ever got to watch growing up. I loved watching him play football. And he played for the Packers that destroyed the Lions all the time. So that was unfortunate. And then as I got older and started understanding like the news and paying attention to stuff, I realized that he was kind of a shady person. And then he seemed to have like a little bit of a reversion back to being a good guy.
Right.
And then there were the inappropriate text messages that he sent that are ridiculous. And then he kind of faded off into the sunset after that. Like he just kind of went off and like started coaching high school. But the dude is worth $110 million, and he's funneling allegedly funneling $5 million from a Republican governor in order to fund a gym that his daughter goes to at the school. Guy's got $110 million. Why not just write the check? It doesn't make sense, but I kind of think he did it. My take right now.
You think he did it?
I do. Because why not? If you have all the money in the world and you do not have God at the absolute center of your heart, it is very easy for people to be just bad human beings. And I'm not calling him that because I don't know, but I just wouldn't be surprised given his track record if he did this. And if he did it, he should just admit it and be like, you know what? Let me tell you where all the money actually goes. It wasn't going to go to the welfare people. Here's where it was going to go. Instead, I chose to build a gym. And just be honest about the whole thing instead of being shady. But politricks, my friend. Politricks.
Politricks. That is kind of the way it goes. Sorry, I'm simultaneously working on audio, so I'm going to give you 4 points for what you just said. Congratulations. Bridget, what do you think? Brett Favre is the devil.
He's not the devil, but
Okay.
he's creep. I mean, he's a creep. He's
That's
a
fair.
creep, you know? Like, after all the stuff that's come out about him, he's like, I don't know if it's just an old age or, you know, what, but he's kind of a creepy dude. But I really do feel like this situation is so over the top that it can't be real, it can't be true. It's maybe it is, and maybe I'm just naive, but it just seems too complicated. Like, why not just steal money? Like, there are ways to steal money other than being like, oh, it was from welfare. And then we found these text messages that came 3 years later. Like, I don't know, it's the 21st century. Like, they could have got those text messages like 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
So I don't
Yeah.
really understand. And a text message again, like, what was the story you told us about the woman who said that he got in trouble for those text messages?
Yeah, the person that he had sent messages to that were really inappropriate quote tweeted today. She's like, now he's gonna get in trouble for sending text messages.
Which is like, it's ridiculous. So I don't know. I feel like this is like a weird hoax. I don't know what the intent would be for anybody like doing this as a hoax, but then what would the intent be of him actually doing it in like a seedy way? Like, even if it was something that was, even if he did it, like, what's the point? There's no point to it in my head, which is why I don't think I understand or I even think that this is true.
Have you seen Ozark?
No. No, I haven't.
The spoiler alert, cover your ears.
No, don't spoil it for people. who haven't
They can
seen
cover
it.
their ears. I just gave them a warning.
But I
It's a delay.
haven't seen
It's a
it
delay.
either.
It just proves that people with money and power will do horrific things.
That don't make sense?
Yeah, 100%, as long as it benefits someone.
I guess. I don't know. To me, it's a little too unbelievable to like believe it until there's like hard factual evidence.
I'm with you, and I'll backtrack on it a little bit in the idea that like I'm not sold on text messages being the damning evidence that we should be looking for in a situation like this. Like, he stole $5 million from people on welfare. That's pretty aggressive to be like, hey, look, I got text messages from 3 years ago. Like, it's fine if it turns out to be true and it gets verified and it goes through a whole process and, you know, then he's indicted and there's a trial. Great. Otherwise, it's Photoshop's easy. Like, it's not one of those things where I would be like, absolutely, because he made questionable decisions, he stole $5 million. Right. Plus, it always is fascinating to me when people have $100+ million and they're like, but I wanted this $5 million. I still find it to be very interesting. Maybe it's just because I'm spoiled by Shaq running around and just doing whatever he wants at any time with his money. All right, moving on while I simultaneously try to fix my microphone, apparently. I'm working on it, I promise. But we'll go to topic number 3. Wrestling, UFC, boxing, or none. This is actually a pretty good one because it covers a whole variety of things, right? You got wrestling, which is kind of the adult sports soap opera, I would say, in that regard, right? Just purely for entertainment and athleticism. Yeah. And then you have UFC, which is probably the closest that we're ever going to see to a street fight where somebody like blows a whistle and says go. And then you've got boxing, which is sort of a gentleman's agreement about what you can and can't do in a physical arena. Or I just don't like blood, so none. You want to go first on this one, Bridget?
Yeah, I'm actually going to pick wrestling.
You gonna pick wrestling?
Yeah,
You love the storylines.
You know, it's the most compelling piece. It's like a telenovela, but not, right?
Right.
No, like, I grew up watching wrestling with my dad and my brother, and so there's something nostalgic about wrestling. And I don't know, it's just so over the top and, like, kind of fun anyway. And, you know, I grew up when it was, like, Ric Flair and Hulk Hogan and, like, all of those guys. So I'd walk around the house going, woo! Like, that was, like, something that I did often. And then The Rock came along, so I had an older brother, so I got the people's elbow on me all the time. So it's like,
I got the people's elbow. I constantly
what was that again?
The people's elbow.
The people's elbow, like, but it's I don't know, it was just so much a part of growing up that even now, like, you know, it kind of went away and it had a resurgence. My dad watches wrestling on TV. Like, for my dad's birthday, my brother bought him a pay-per-view wrestling, like, match of somebody. I don't know any of the wrestlers now. But I choose wrestling. It's kind of, I don't know, just a throwback to my childhood. And it's silly and just kind of fun entertainment.
Yeah, that's fair. Jonathan, what are you going with here?
between wrestling, UFC, and boxing. Well, when I grew up, I wanted to like wrestling, but I wasn't allowed to watch it. So I was the mean kid who like made fun of my friends who liked wrestling because they were allowed to watch it. And then when I finally,
so it was out of jealousy.
yeah, and then when I finally was allowed to watch it, like I saw like Sting from NWO and he had like makeup on, and I was horrified. And I was like, this is a devil TV show. No wonder my mom didn't want me to watch it. And then so my whole life was like, it's fake. Who cares? But I really like Pat McAfee, and he's kind of bringing wrestling back. And so I'm interested and more intrigued than I've ever been. Boxing, I think, is the best sport of the three. Like, it's really fun to watch. Back in the day, it used to be like the sport with Ali and even with Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield, although not that fight. But UFC, like, I used to hate it. I used to hate watching people fight. And then COVID happened. Mm-hmm. And the UFC was like,
and then people started fighting in the real world, and now you're okay with it.
COVID happened, and like all the sports shut down, and the UFC bought an island, and just kept going. And so like it was the only thing on TV on Saturday nights was UFC. Right. I'm hanging out in the Discord drinking beers with my buddies, just watching these guys kill each other, and I was like, this is awesome. Yep. And I totally felt like a 2022 gladiator. But the participant, not the actual gladiator. I'm like watching in the stands, and I'm just like, let's go. And then you start like gambling on it, and you're just like, I want you to win. I got money on you.
This is like taking a turn.
I was like, this is bad, but it's really fun. So for me, it's UFC. Gamble responsibly if you're above the age of 21 and that's what you want to do. But UFC is just packed with action. It has a lot of the drama that wrestling has now because of all the trash talking and press conferences. I'm team UFC.
Okay. All right. That's fair. And said. I would also fall in the UFC camp. And I think it's just because there was always something about boxing that I found really interesting, except that I was like, kick him in the groin. Like what are you taking shots in the face for? You know? And just like that they would get like in a position where one guy is clearly on the attack, and then somebody would like wrestle against the ropes, and then a ref would be like, whoa, you can't get physical. This is boxing. And like separate them so that they had to go back to only, being at that distance. And so I just think from a sport perspective, I was kind of like, no, that makes sense. That they would be like, you do whatever you do, and you either get a knockout or submission, or if it ends up, going to the judges, then it's because two guys survived for 5 rounds of actual anything kind of goes event. So that's just my personal take, and it is absolutely correct because I'm a host.
Well, we had that conversation earlier about blood sport.
Oh.
Isn't Bloodsport?
Bloodsport was the original UFC.
Okay.
Except
I loved Bloodsport, but
Kimbo Slice was the original UFC.
Yeah, but he learned most of his moves from Bloodsport.
Okay.
I mean, all the things he did where he did the splits while spin kicking in the air and in slow motion going, like that was
Bloodsport.
Bloodsport for sure.
It's such a good movie.
Also Street Fighter.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to our next topic. Football is back. Thoughts? John, you want to go first on this one? I'm shocked that you're this excited about football being back.
It is good that we are here and that football is back. Let us gather a couple of tents and stay here forever. Okay? Get the reference? Yeah?
I don't know.
In the Bible, yes you do. Remember?
The tents of meeting?
Remember?
No, I don't know. Explain it for me. Whoever else is like.
And for the chat, apparently.
What?
Go ahead.
Okay. Anyway, I digress. So I love football, and there's just something that is right and just about it. It's back. Like fall is here. I am from the Midwest, so I'm a little biased. I know we're in Houston right now. It's 88 degrees, so fall doesn't feel like a real thing. But at home, it gets to 55 degrees at night now. So you can have the windows open, and then you can have them open during the day. It's chilly weather. We can start making chili. And when that chili's on the stove, and you can hear the pregame show, and you watch football all day Saturday, and the NFL's on, it just feels like all is right in the world for me. And so this past weekend was awesome. I got to watch a lot of college football, my anniversary trip. I got to watch the Lions play a great game against a better team and still almost win against one of the better teams that they're going to face all season. And it was awesome to cheer with my wife and kids and my brother and his wife. I'm all in. Football is back. The games were amazing. A ton of upsets this past week, which were crazy. So I love it. I'm so glad, and I just wish there was a way that we could have high-quality football all year round.
Yeah.
but you can't because you have the XFL and there's
Are
only
you
so
suggesting that the XFL is not high quality
many,
football?
There's only so many NFL players, unfortunately.
Bold words, I'm
They
calling
can't
The Rock.
even have 32 good teams, but I'm so glad it's back. Congratulations to the Eagles. We'll talk more about that later.
Bridget.
I'm excited. I'm not as excited. But okay.
Not the same level of excitement.
Not this. Yeah, I'm excited in a different way because I used to love watching football and sports in general, really, as like kind of a cathartic. Like it would be the thing that I would do by myself. Like I don't really love watching games I want to see in groups, just because I want to focus. I want to kind of chill out and listen and pay attention. So I had 2 children during the last few football seasons, so I was like disengaged.
Yeah.
And then of COVID and everything, like totally disengaged. So I was like, Daniel, I told my husband, I'm going to be dedicated this season. Like I'm going to watch, I'm going to enjoy it, I'm going to follow my favorite players. And so I've been doing that. And it's just so fun. Like there's just something so like, I don't know, gratifying to me about like just watching the Monday Night Football game and enjoying it. And I watched the Manning cast this time and seeing how they like have such a great rapport as brothers and the guests they bring on. So it's just fun from like, I don't know, just like, I don't know, a really nice, cozy feeling kind of thing of watching a sport that you enjoy. So
Right.
I've liked it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. I like it, like John's talking about, where it's kind of like in the ether of, it being fall and some of those types of things. I'm more excited for John that football's back on than I am for myself. But, I can enjoy it by proxy through, my friends and family. Which is fine. And, I'm making an effort to follow the Lions this year because I don't have any particular, team that this wasn't my thing. And I have a whole bunch of issues that are wrapped up in the sport in general that when I learn more, I enjoy it more. And so because football is definitely highly under the microscope all the time, not in a positive way. Right, and so if you're just kind of on the peripheral and it's not your thing, you just get the impression that are any of these people are we ever going to cover somebody who's giving their salary back to a children's hospital, or are they all just going to hit their wives and girlfriends? You know what I mean? Can we, and so but that's not a fair assessment of the sport. That's just seems to be the it's what gets views, and so it's good headlines, and so that gets all wrapped up in a whole thing, and then. It's just it's not an accurate element for me. So I'm making more of an effort to, kind of turn the corner and be excited about it in a different way, which I think I'm doing successfully. I mean, I'm loving our watch parties.
We've done 2 watch parties so far. We're going to be doing Thursday night, Sunday night, Monday night watch parties in our Twitch channel. So feel free. Maybe we'll do one with the Mannings.
Oh, that's so good.
Wouldn't that be cool?
It'd be so cool.
Yeah,
oh my
that'd be
gosh.
so fun.
We should.
We'd have to get a really big camera for Peyton's head.
We should do that.
Everybody rags on Peyton. Peyton is the best.
He's
so
amazing.
wonderful.
You could just land a plane on his forehead.
Not
he's awesome.
even.
He is like what football players would look like if they evolved to not need helmets. It's
Oh my gosh, so mean. So mean.
Too far.
Big fan.
Now this brings us to our buy or sell section of our show, in which we go through some topics and we buy them or sell them. And I think there's usually spirited debate, and but rarely does it break down into a UFC style situation. It definitely much more is a pro wrestling, WWE kind of thing. Yeah, no, that's definitely the way to go. So buy or sell, Halloween in September. Bridget.
I'm gonna buy it. Yeah.
Oh, she's buying Halloween in September.
I'm gonna buy it. It's right around the corner. It's the next big holiday. It's fun, and I don't know. I have a daughter who loves Halloween, and I saw you guys earlier. We have this light-up pumpkin that we call Billy, so that she's not afraid of it, and we put it in our house.
Oh, that's just Billy.
Yeah.
That works.
It totally works.
That's amazing.
My youngest gives it hugs, and then my oldest hi Billy every single morning. So it's adorable. So we've embraced the Halloween early, and I've always had friends who love Halloween and go all out. So I'm not a huge Halloween person, but it brings joy to people who like it. So I don't know. Yeah, I like it. I don't mind it. And people are really creative. Why are you looking at me like that? People are really creative with their Halloween decorations. Some over the top, maybe, but
I always think that it's fascinating because of a lot of the things that we talk about. This is one of the most divisive.
Halloween?
Yes. No.
Oh.
Or the appropriate time of celebrating holiday is like, there is no middle ground. I cannot find somebody who's like, just do what you like, it's fine, it'll be fine. It's either like, why are there skeletons in July? Or there's like, no, you should do it year round. I mean, after 4th of July, you don't really have anything, so you might as well put the graveyard up in your yard. What do you say? You feel the opposite. I can tell.
I understand. There's so many factors.
Is that
There's so many factors. Because
it's September, October. It's like boom, boom.
The practical reason for having Halloween stuff out early, which I do not believe any store cares about. People care about it, but the stores do not care. The stores just care about making money. But the practical reason is that now October is like snowing in the fall.
That's
true. Like where, in the Midwest and stuff. And so it doesn't make sense to have your pumpkin out there, freezing or during the rainy part of the season. September really kind of is the new October weather, so I understand it for the practical reason of like people want to put their pumpkins out in September when the weather is still decent.
Oh, because of climate change? I didn't think you were going to go there.
I didn't say those words, but So you've got that. You've got that, but that's not what the stores care about. And so my beef is what I said last time we talked about pumpkin spice lattes. My beef is that when is it going to stop? They just keep going back and back and back. Like next year or in 2 or 3 years, it's going to be August. And then it's going to be July. And it sounds crazy, but like it used to be October 1st. And then it was September 15th. And now it's September 1st. Like it just keeps going. Christmas is the same thing. Like Christmas stuff is going to start coming out now, like in October. And it doesn't make any sense. I don't like that part of it. It annoys me. And here's my biggest beef with Halloween, okay? My biggest beef. People forget like what it is. All Hallows Eve is supposed to be a holy day where you celebrate, the fact that that Jesus destroyed death. And so we can dress up and laugh in the face of evil and rejoice that Jesus has won. That is like what Halloween is, but instead it's like pumpkins and trick-or-treating and all this stuff instead of celebrating like the day before All Saints Day or All Souls Day, whichever one comes first. I think it's All Saints and All Souls. And so that part makes me mad. And then the decoration part. Oh my goodness, some people. I don't want to call out my sister-in-law, Jess. But I want to. I love her. Jess, I love you. This is probably going to be on TikTok. I love you so much. You are amazing. You're one of the most joyful human beings. I love how much you love Halloween. But a pumpkin throwing up all over your house September 1st, too far.
But why?
Wait till October 1st.
But why?
You need 60 days to get ready for trick-or-treating?
But your ethics are like so off. You're like football all the time, year round. But football has a season because it's great because it's the season and you can enjoy the season. It's the same thing with these holidays. And Halloween is being enjoyed for two months. That's it.
So then we need to have a real conversation one time about what actually is it that people like about Halloween. Is it really, are people just taking Halloween and turning it into fall? Do people really like fall and Halloween is how they express that, and so the two are the same?
No, I think people like Halloween.
What about it?
I think they like that you get to watch horror movies and like you get to dress up and it's, very funny with trick-or-treating, and I think people like it. And pumpkins are cute, and I don't know.
Yeah, I'm gonna split the difference here. I mean, I would sell Halloween in September just because I don't like putting up Christmas lights more than 10 days before, either. But that's just who I am as a person. But I would go further to say that it seems like what we like to do as a society is get ready for stuff. Yeah. And so there's like a lot of the building of anticipation as holidays or events come up and the planning. I think people oftentimes enjoy that and the effort that goes into it just as much as the actual holiday. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so I think that there's an attempt to extend that, and if it's something that you love, then I could see the desire to make it a longer thing or a longer activity. I will also go on a rant as a dad of children that like Halloween and horror aren't the same thing and don't need to be misconstrued so often. Like the amount of times that I have kids cry because somebody has a Jason mask with a knife, like looking like they're climbing into somebody's back seat while they're driving around, is not okay.
Terrifying.
You know what I mean? Like it's not like there's Halloween and there's like
that may have been Jess and Morgan. You may have seen it. They used to do that.
Well, I mean, it's a little insensitive to to like how the world is. And that's all I'm saying. I don't drive around swearing out my window at random people based on, stuff because, that's not how the world should work.
But you kind of wanna.
I'm not saying I don't want to. I'm saying I hold it back. And so, for example, if I love horror to that level of Halloween, I'm going to keep it inside my house instead of like in my front yard where like I have a 4-year-old that won't ride her bike down the block because that's where the zombies are crawling out of the ground.
This is where I'm torn.
That's just me. But
I'm so torn because I love to see that creativity of people. Like, even if it's like a little gory, I think if they can be creative in those decorations and what they do, it's kind of cool. But I'm a theater person, and that's like when they create props and things, and if it's zombies, whatever. Like, I don't know. It's like, how do you do that? It's cool, but I get what you mean from the dad perspective.
There's a theater person in our neighborhood who does she's amazing at makeup, and she'll just sit out there trick or treating and like make kids look terrifying. It's really cool. It's really cool that she does it for free, and it's. But yeah, no thanks.
Yeah, yeah, agreed. So anyway, that was my random.
So I'm selling. You're buying.
I'm buying.
And you are.
I'm selling. Yeah, I would sell.
Well, creepy mask. There used to be a car that parked in this apartment parking lot that had a V for Vendetta mask on the passenger seat. And every time you walk by the car, you'd see that mask.
Yeah.
That is like, oh my gosh. That
creepy.
was creepy.
Yeah. Okay. Butter on sandwiches is our next buy or sell topic.
Speaking of that person,
wow,
Jack.
if only we had an emote for something like that in our channel, that would be amazing. Bridget, you go first on this one. We know where John stands.
I was going to ask if I could put it on layaway.
What?
Because I don't know if I want to buy or sell it. It's like,
She
it depends on the
can't
sandwich.
decide.
Right?
I would agree with you on that one.
Yeah, it totally depends on the sandwich. So,
A basic sandwich.
Like
Ham
the
and
deli
cheese.
meat?
Ham and cheese
Sell.
on white bread.
Sell. No way. I'm selling it. I don't want to put butter on that
What sandwich would you put it on?
A grilled cheese. On a grilled cheese sandwich to toast it up. Butter on the bread? Absolutely. And Darnell and I were talking earlier, like on a French baguette, if it's grilled, probably on grilled sandwiches on the outside to make it a little toasty, a little yummy. Absolutely. But on a deli meat sandwich on the inside, no. So.
You are a food pyramid kid. You have
You're not thinking outside the box.
You have bought into the lie that butter is unhealthy, and so the only time you can even fathom eating it is if it's melted and you can't even see it because it's so bad for you. Butter is one of the healthiest foods in the world. It is delicious, especially grass-fed butter in particular, with salt, of course. Any sandwich, it makes it better. Any sandwich, any type of bread, I do not care. I put it on peanut butter and jelly.
Oh no!
2 slices of whatever bread you want. Butter, butter, peanut butter, jelly. Boom, delicious. The butter helps it.
That's so nasty.
It's delicious. Butter belongs on not only sandwiches but everything. I'm buying butter.
You're buying butter.
In fact, I may buy butter here at Houston and take it home and see if it tastes better.
That's amazing. Yeah, I would sell butter on sandwiches just because. I mean. Unless I'm having a butter and cheese sandwich, I mean, that's kind of where it's at, right?
Yeah.
But if you don't think that it's good, if you think it's good toasted with cheese, why would it not be good without being toasted?
Well, that's like saying I like marshmallow sauce, and so why wouldn't you just put marshmallow sauce on your eggs? Like it's fine.
It's very different.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Bread,
it's very different. You don't
toasted,
need
untoasted bread.
like
bread.
I don't think that I need the additional butter. Plus, I'll be honest with you that the amount of butter that I have to add to the average sandwich that I would make is probably not tasteable. Like I don't know that I could detect the butter. Now, if we're toasting the bread to make a sandwich, then we're using butter every time. Like if it's gonna get heated up, then it's great. But if I'm making ham, cheese, salami, Miracle Whip, lettuce, tomato, onion, olive oil, maybe some spices, oregano. Like, where's the butter going? like that's a mean lunch sandwich. Like the butter is. I'm gonna have to put it on the opposite side of the bread just to fit it.
No, the butter it replaces the mayo. You don't need Miracle Whip or mayonnaise if you have butter.
Does that make it slippery?
No.
Slippery if it's butter?
Same as mayo. Mayo's actually a little more.
So
slippery.
this is a whole other thing. Like you're not talking about in sandwiches. You're talking about replacing it as a primary ingredient.
Butter should be the liquid ingredient in the sandwich, 100%.
No.
I like Miracle Whip and
mustard.
mustard
You don't even
too
need that other
much.
stuff. Yeah, mustard.
But I appreciate where you're coming from on that perspective.
Love you, Rocky. Love you, Rocky.
Okay, moving on. Lions win Sunday? Buy or sell?
I'm buying the Detroit Lions winning on
Uh-huh.
Sunday. I believe that the entire NFC North will be 1-1 by the end of this weekend. Bears lose to the Packers. Both teams be 1-1. Eagles beat the Vikings in a close game. Both the Vikings be 1-1. Lions beat Washington 1-1. I will be at that game. Look for me on television against the Washington Commanders.
Look for me on television.
My wife and our 2 sons will be there. We're going to have a blast cheering for the Lions, and I'm not kidding you when I tell you that I legitimately believe that I will be part of the reason they win.
It's a fan thing.
I'm going to get people behind me when we're down 3 or 7 who are a little bit mad and are done cheering. I'm going to turn around and get them to stand up and scream, and they're going to help us win the game. It's going to be great.
It's amazing. Who are the Commanders again?
Washington.
Washington Commanders.
Yeah.
They used to be something else.
They did. Yeah, we can't say that anymore.
Yeah, we wouldn't want to. We would want to repeat history because of our sports team names. Okay. Gotcha. All right, Bridget. Lions
I'll
winning
buy it.
Sunday.
Yeah, I'll buy that. I think they'll do all right. And, Washington's not that great, so. I don't know if I'll watch the game, though. I don't think I'll actually watch
To see me?
I mean, they'll put it on TikTok.
Is Washington not that great because of their name?
Maybe not. But I just don't think it'll be that great of a game, so I'm just I'm not gonna watch it. But the Lions will win,
watch
and it'll be
Pretty much fact. Last week's game was probably the best game of the week.
Oh, no.
38-35 down to the wire. I mean, it was an unbelievable game. No
There
one
were
scored
a
more
lot
points.
of really good games last week.
That one was top 3 for sure. And now
I don't know about that.
I mean, okay.
People should put in the chat
I
their
mean,
top games.
okay.
my heart. Hurts my heart.
But I said they win. I buy it.
Thank you.
I would buy the Lions winning on Sunday, not just because everybody loves an underdog, but because I think that there's like an awesome redemption arc that comes with the disappointment of last season and like getting a fresh start at the beginning of this one. And so, I would like to see that happen. The Lions are actually favored
For the first time since 2020.
That's so crazy.
Wow.
That's the wildest.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. We're down to our final buy or sell topic of the
I'm
evening.
so passionate about this one.
This is a big one. I know we spent a lot of time thinking of this one and how to word it and everything, so this is tough. Buy or sell, lakes are greater than oceans.
Sell.
That's your take, is selling lakes are greater than oceans?
Yes, I love oceans. Sell.
Why? Explain.
Okay, first, when you look out on the ocean, the vastness of it is incredible. It's like mind-blowing when you look out and see the ocean and just see water. It's overwhelming. Like, it's a very powerful experience. And the beach, I mean, no. Like, there's just no competition in my head. Lakes
Gotcha.
are dirty.
What? You're dirty.
I know oceans can be dirty, but like,
Lakes are
no,
dirty.
I don't want
the
to.
ocean near Houston?
Many times.
Lakes are dirty. And which one of them can you drink out of?
Can you drink out of lakes?
That's where all our water
Fresh water comes from.
Really?
Yes.
Unless you are sitting on some incredible desalination technology that would make us all rich beyond our wildest dreams.
I didn't know lakes.
Bridget.
But then why would you swim? So you're swimming in that water that we're drinking.
Well, it's
Yeah,
filtered, but it's mostly about the not having salt in it, primarily.
This seems
Okay,
like,
Bridget, are you
this
happy?
is like
we have to
a
go-
scandal happening.
This is a scandal?
Yes.
Water treatment plant scandal. You heard it here first from Bridget Richardson.
I'm buying lakes are better than oceans, and it's not particularly close.
I love
Okay.
the ocean.
All right,
Because
explain.
everything that you just mentioned about oceans is true about Lake Michigan. You stand on Lake Michigan, you can't see, it looks just like an ocean. I've been to most of the oceans. It's insane. It's perfectly clear. It looks like all the water in Aruba where you can see to the bottom. Like that's Lake Michigan pretty much everywhere. The sand on the beaches is 10 times cleaner. There's no crabs running around. You can't get eaten. There's no salt in the water. You can open your eyes underwater and see.
But it won't clean your cuts.
It won't clean your cuts. It'll infect your cuts probably a little more than the ocean might. But it is so everything that you like about the ocean. Like the only thing I can even think of that makes the ocean better than lakes is that it's so hot usually where the ocean is that at least you can get in the water without being freezing cold.
That's a
like
big
Lake
part of
Michigan,
it.
in the dead of summer in Chicago, Lake Michigan's like 65 at the most in the water. So that's cold, but it is beautiful. It's amazing. You can literally drink the water, and it looks. I'm with you. I'm totally with you on like what being next to a giant body of water feels like. But it does feel the same at Lake Michigan.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm buying it. Lakes over oceans.
I'll give you a point for that. I'm buying it as well, and as the practical person that I can't apparently stop being, it is entirely based on variety. Right? It's entirely based on the idea that like Lake Michigan is vastly different than like Grand Lake in Colorado, which is vastly different than like an ice lake in Alaska, which is, and I've been to a bunch of them that I think that they're kind of cool, and walking around a lake is a fun activity, and walking by the ocean is always the same.
Except, now what I will say is I do think that like, this is funny.
I'm about to win. Keep talking.
It's funny that I'm going to say this because as much as I do think lakes are better, like I love that you can dive into one of the deepest parts of a lake and not worry about like getting eaten. I really do. But
where's the drama?
At the same time, like being like out on the ocean like is a whole nother experience.
It is.
Knowing that there's an animal down there.
I mean, you
was
pet a
alive when the
lion.
dinosaurs was alive. Yeah. It's terrifying.
You would pet a lion. Who knows? There might be a shark, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is my chance.
What's is it thalassophobia? Is like the fear of like deep water, like unseen dark water or something like that? That's what I struggle with the ocean. That's the biggest one. The vastness of it gets in my brain. Like
You feel overwhelmed?
Yeah, for sure. Like
Oh my
being on a boat
gosh.
in the ocean is like, this is uncomfortable.
Isn't there a stat out there that says we know more about space than we do about the ocean?
I mean,
Oh, wow.
in terms of like discovery, like
Yeah.
we've seen
'Cause we,
more
like,
of space
can't
than
go-
we've seen of the ocean.
Yeah, we can't go deep enough to like see like what's way down there.
Isn't that crazy?
That's pretty creepy.
And knowing about it maybe is an interesting way to explain. But yeah, I mean,
So
like,
your next stream, you guys are gonna go
theoretically.
on a boat. You're gonna just experience what that.
And I'm just gonna freak out.
Yeah.
And we're just gonna bring bourbon and Xanax. We're just gonna,
I love it.
yeah.
Anyone else craving butter?
I mean, after all that, I feel like we have to get some.
Someone in the chat earlier, we banned him, but he called me fat. Look at this fat idiot. It's like right before the butter topic. And I was like, oh, you hold on, buddy.
You just
Getting
wait.
better.
You just wait. I can't believe that's probably great content.
It is.
So this brings us to the close of tonight's Around the Halo. We did kind of rifle through that one, although I mean one less person than normal, right?
Right.
So part of it is Marco not talking about the monarchy, which
Part of it is
I'm
also
gonna probably
Marco.
record and have him post as a drop-in for this episode, just his 11-minute quick TED talk on the monarchy and why it exists. But tonight our winner is Bridget.
What? How's that possible?
With 41 points over John and I's 38, respectively.
y'all so much.
And the
Did it
chat really likes you.
Chat really was giving you a lot.
Chat was like, where's all the points for Bridget?
Somebody
And I'm
wanted
like,
to
all right,
see
let's
the
wrap
thumb.
it."
Someone said, can she show that thumb bend again?
Thumb bend. I have a hitchhiker's thumb.
I never noticed that.
Yeah, I
Terrified.
do.
It is not Halloween yet. Put it away.
Incredible.
Yeah, I have major hitchhiker's thumbs.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Have you ever heard of that?
I've
hitchhiker's
never heard of
thumb?
it, never seen it.
Oh yeah, that's because you can stick it out hitchhiking. Yeah. My thumbs.
That's impressive. That's amazing.
You get 30 seconds to promote whatever you want.
Oh, I
Yeah,
don't
30
have-
seconds. Just anything that you want.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to talk about Femme Catholic. It's Feminist Catholics. That's what it stands for. And so this cup says, women occupy a place in thought and in action that is unique and decisive. And this is a quote from JP2. And they're just an incredible group. Like, go look up their stuff. They talk a lot about, like, women's health and the importance of what it means to be feminist and Catholic, like within the church, and like being pro-life and like understanding who you are and your body. Like, it's some really great stuff. I I love their content. I love who they are. And the founder is like amazing. I've gotten to interview her a few times. So they're awesome. And Go Max Studios. I love working here. I love working with you guys. So
Awesome.
yeah.
That's great.
Oh, we love working with you too.
Yeah, we do. It's pretty great. As a quick aside, this is just bonus content now at this point because the show was great. Thanks for being here, chat. It was a pleasure having you. But somebody said the other day that where we're at with our kind of like political dialogue, the analogy was made that like there's a term that exists that's called toxic masculinity, right? And it's the idea of basically like kind of being a jerk. Right, and that like that was like I mean like sort of like the idea that like there's nothing wrong with like being a dude, but like then there are some stuff that gets taken to the nth degree, right, to this extreme, and they equated it to there is also an element that unfortunately is like fringe feminism that might be considered like toxic feminism, like how toxic masculinity exists. Like, do you have any thoughts on that? And I only bring it up because sometimes you say like feminism and people's like alarm bells go off, or
that's why this is so
masculine, or like and so
because it's the coming together of the two. Because I think it's bad that people think that, because you want to think masculinity, power, like wisdom, strength, like all of the good things, and you want to think feminism like women, rights, like beauty, like you want to think about those things. So it's almost reshaping the conversation back to like the roots of those words and what they are supposed to mean, and not having like this aggressive. We just live in such a polarized society, right? Because of that, it's hard to find these things in ways that's nuanced, and that we can like all of us can have a conversation about feminism and masculinity, and it not be like
and the only reason I bring it up and why I wanted to expand on it a little bit is because I guarantee that somebody, if you just took it out of context and you said Catholic feminism, somebody would be like, "Wah!"
Because I think that's what they did. They wanted to like blow people's minds and then bring them into the conversation.
They would think like Catholics for choice. Catholics for choice. And you're like, what? Like no, Femme Catholic is awesome.
That's not. Yeah, it's a really interesting group of women, doing their thing, and I sometimes write for them, and I always like to include my husband because I'm like, it's a partnership. Like, yes, I'm a woman because he empowers me to be who I am. Like, but that's in the married spectrum, right? So I always ask if I can like, hey, can I put things about like partnership and marriage and like that kind of stuff? It's so important. So anyway.
Awesome. All right.
You did a great job.
Yeah, we want to thank everybody for joining us on this episode of Around the Halo, episode 2, both of which have been live from Houston. So see you in 2 weeks, I guess.
Well, so tomorrow night we will be live from Houston doing a watch party for the game.
Correct.
I believe it's Chiefs-Bills. Should be really fun.
Chiefs.
Tomorrow's Thursday, right?
Not Chiefs. It's Chiefs.
Chargers. Chiefs Chargers. Chiefs Chargers.
Yeah.
No,
you said it earlier.
I think I was wrong. I think it is Chiefs-Bills.
Is it?
Yeah, it's Chiefs-Bills.
Oh my gosh.
I think it's 2 Thursday nights in a row. No way. It's Chiefs Chargers. Don't listen to me. Let me check. My internet stopped working. Anyway, tomorrow night, it's not the Bills. It's the Chiefs Chargers.
Okay, yeah.
It is. That's going to be tomorrow night. We're going to watch it from somewhere in Houston. We'll tweet it out and stuff. But then next Tuesday will be during our subathon. We're going live and we're staying live. Part in the intercession.
That's right.
Will be next Tuesday in the evening.
The return of Joel Stepanek.
And then the following week Around the Halo, and then the rotation continues, which is super exciting.
Yeah, agreed.
And we're going to do it even when we're traveling.
Yeah,
so
why not?
We'll see. It'll be fun.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a blast. All right, well, chat, thank you for joining us tonight for Around the Halo episode 2. We'll be live tomorrow. That's going to be super exciting as well. Did you decide where we're doing that from, by the way?
It'll either be Cidercade or one of the local breweries that I've heard about.
Okay, cool. All right, sweet. So, what's that?
St. Arnold's. I love St. Arnold's.
Oh, yeah, St. Arnold's was
Do they have a lot of TVs? We weren't watching it. I was watching the weather.
I don't know.
I don't know
They have
either.
some.
We'll check it out.
Okay, sweet. We love you.
God loves you more.
Let's change the world.